Matt Gaetz just subpoenaed or got Kevin McCarthy to subpoena Hunter Biden. He's going under oath. This is going to be hairy. But this is kind of a play-by-play of how Matt Gaetz did it. If you're having a bad day, you're about to have a better one. Just watching Matt Gaetz, a patriot willing to fight, even his own side, even Margie Taylor Greene and Byron Donalds, even MAGA allies, he comes out and he's a great fighter, respectful, but very good guy.
I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
That was the message that Hunter Biden gave to the people that he was trying to shake down for money to have access to my father, being Joe Biden. And this is access to Joe Biden, which is bribery. Okay, so he's shaking them down for money. Now, Director Wray is going to obfuscate. I don't know what you're talking about. And Matt Gaetz has him.
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI
does
not and has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it.
It's not a matter of opinion that it's a shakedown. Okay, so here Speaker Wray is totally wrong. It is a fact that it is a shakedown. Okay, and he can't say it's a shakedown because he is being paid for, manipulated, and works for the Biden DOJ. That's what I mean by he can't say common sense thing of that's all Matt Gaetz says is, doesn't that sound like a shakedown? And Speaker Wray goes, I'm not going to answer that. Why are you so uncurious? I love the way Matt Gaetz puts it. You're strangely uncurious. Let's look at the things that the FBI under Speaker Wray are not uncurious about. They're strangely curious when a small bunch of Catholics are pro-life. They're curious about them enough to start tracking their phone records to find out if they're militant. That is, ma and pa, some crusty old Catholic priest, they're right on them. Oh, what about the way that the FBI went after PTA members? They were saying that they were militant groups for opposing trans ideology in schools. They're strangely curious about them, but Hunter Biden shaken down under other countries for the president. The FBI themselves are not just uncurious, according to Matt Gaetz. They confuse and obfuscate and cover them up.
Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
It reveals everything about Wray. The guy's guilty. What a screw job. This whole country is jacked partially because of Speaker Wray and Merrick Garland are in cahoots with Biden. Now here's Matt Gaetz calling out Kevin McCarthy, saying that Kevin McCarthy, in trying to approve a budget, has opposed their own rules for which Matt Gaetz agreed to allow Speaker McCarthy be the leader.
I rise today to serve notice. Mr. Speaker, you are out of compliance with the agreement that allowed you to assume this role. The path forward for the House of Representatives is to either bring you into immediate total compliance or remove you pursuant to a motion to vacate the chair.
Now, Speaker McCarthy said, screw you, Matt Gaetz. Good luck. I dare you to remove me. But Matt Gaetz, I just want you to know, these guys are friends. He and McCarthy, okay? Friends doesn't mean you agree. You're supposed to have this kind of debate. This is what our government is for. Now, here's further, deeper into the debate. Matt Gaetz here is opposing Byron Donalds, hardcore MAGA Republican, for agreeing with his continuing resolution that funds too much government pork. And now Matt Gaetz is calling out a friend, an ally, a MAGA ally.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not voting for a continuing resolution. I'm not voting to continue the failure and the waste and the corruption and the election interference. I oppose the CR authored by my friend and colleague from Florida, Byron Donalds. The Donald CR is a permission slip for Jack Smith to continue his election interference as they are trying to gag the president, the former president of the United States, and the leading contender for the Republican nomination. And the Donald CR abandons the principle that it is only a review of single subject spending bills that will save this country and allow us to tweeze through these programs and force these agencies to stand up and defend their budget.
A real quick note on that. Again, I'm going to try and explain it to you so it makes sense to me. Single subject spending bills is what is the biggest issue for Matt Gaetz. He wants them to be able to go in and have every spending bill be single subject, one item, instead of packaging them all. Then you're forced to add in more Democrat pork to get your own stuff passed. He's just going, look, we're going to narrow them down one at a time.
My friends, we are approaching the days where we're facing $2 trillion annual deficits atop a $33 trillion debt. This is unsustainable. And just to continue things with some facial 8% cut over 30 days that will lead to no programmatic reform is an insult to the principles we fought for in January. I yield back.
I got no argument with Matt Gaetz. I just think he's great. But here's a Twitter that he gave where he calls out Byron Donalds and Marjorie Taylor Greene, among others. Here we go. I must disagree with my dear friend. The question is whether we will demand single subject spending bills with open amendments and spending caps. We do that, or we vote no. We do that, or the administrative state wins, possibly forever. That was the deal written by far brighter people than me in January. I'm not attacking Chip, that's Chip Roy, or Scott, Tim Scott, or Byron Donalds. I'm trying to convince them. The Donalds CR, continuing resolution, is a horrible strategy. I just want to get our best players back on side so we can run winning plays. He's really pushing for fiscal conservative, but then Marjorie Taylor Greene's upset because if we shut down the government, we shut down all the investigations on impeaching Biden, the investigations on Hunter Biden. So as you can see, it's complicated, guys. It's not good guys and bad guys. It's very hard to parse this out. And sometimes your own allies, you have to fight. It's okay for us to criticize Trump. It's okay for us to criticize DeSantis. It's okay to criticize people for their own strategies. That's all he's saying. Here he is on Steve Bannon.
The original sin of the McCarthy speakership was the deal he made with Democrats to underwrite all of Biden's debt on the debt limit. And that created the expectation with Democrats that we were going to continue to be increasing spending above and beyond the COVID levels. Keep in mind, during COVID, our government spending increased by 40% in this country. And so that is how they want to keep the good times rolling, for government agencies to continue to grow, for the elites to be able to have more of a control on a command economy. And it just costs people who've worked with their name on their shirt, saved, lived responsibly. It costs those people their future. And that's why it is so offensive to me that Republicans are not offering a more robust fight against this. And you and I talked after the speaker contest in January. I said all we had developed was a series of tools, but whether or not January changed anything would be entirely dependent on our willingness to use those tools.
All Matt's doing is trying to get them to use their tools, and he's trying to tighten it down. And he has a narrow majority. I don't think he has a strong hand to play. He's sitting here in the narrowest of majorities, going to Kevin McCarthy and his fellow MAGA people and going, guys, look, we got to hold tight, hold and squeeze more budget cuts out of the Democrats. And McCarthy and Byron Donalds going, look, they've done enough cutting. He's going, not enough.
Against the Donald CR. So here's what happens this morning. We go in and there's an understanding based on what so many Americans have done to voice their opposition to this, that the Donald CR does not have the votes to pass. And so instead of going back to the January deal, capping spending at pre-COVID levels, passing individual appropriations bills, having open amendments, instead of doing that, now they're saying, well, we want to spend the rest of the day in small group meetings talking about what we have to do to augment or change or add or subtract from the Donald CR to get to 218 votes. I was deeply heartened this morning when Dan Bishop of North Carolina stood up the microphone and said he's not voting for any CR, and I'm with Dan Bishop. You know why? It is irresponsible and it is fundamentally unserious to be taking these up or down votes that dictate the future of all of these disparate agencies of government.
Come on, guys. I love him. If you don't love him yet, fine. He looks like a young Jack Nicholson with that eyebrow up there. Fine, you don't like him. Let's see how you like him now. Here's a hat tip. Dom Luker on Twitter. Breaking: Matt Gaetz just issued a subpoena for Hunter Biden. Matt Gaetz is the greatest politician in the world. Here's a full screen of from the desk of McCarthy, which Matt Gaetz twisted his arm on. This is a subpoena for Hunter Biden. We're going to read the first two chunks here. Get my smart guy glasses on. In accordance with the House of Representatives' duty to investigate President Joseph R. Biden Jr.'s alleged bribery and other high crimes and misdemeanors, and in the furtherance of the House's impeachment inquiry, please find and comply with this lawful subpoena. This subpoena hereby orders the production of the relevant documentary materials as set forth on the attached schedule, followed by your participation in one or more days of deposition testimony. The deposition will be under oath and will be led by the professional staff of the Judiciary Committee and other members. In short, when Hunter Biden has to take an oath, he's dead and his dad is all done. Matt Gaetz is pushing that. Kevin McCarthy went along with it, which might be a deal that he and Matt Gaetz did behind the scenes that will get Matt Gaetz on board with Kevin McCarthy's budget. We don't know. I'll keep you posted. But Matt Gaetz, just a great firebrand. I really like that guy. What do you think? Let me know in the chat below. Give me a thumbs up if you want to see more Matt Gaetz stuff. The more thumbs up that I see, the more likely I'll cover a subject. I'm Doug in Exile.